NTA International News.
Acting President swears in Walter Samuel Onogen as the Chief Justice of Nigeria. Nigeria gets clean bill of health by members of the UN Security Council. Senate President Bukola Saraki and Speaker House of Representatives Yakubu Dogara felicitate his acting president as he clocks 60 years. Hello, it's my pleasure to welcome you to NTA International News. I am Nancy Godi Angonihu. Justice Walter Samuel Onogen has been sworn in as the 15th Indigenous Chief Justice of Nigeria. Acting President Yemi Osinbajo, who performed the ceremony, challenged the appointee as head of the nation's judiciary to live up to expectations by upholding higher moral and ethical standards at all times. The acting president therefore called on the Chief Justice of Nigeria to ensure that justice delivery is truly just and fair to all.
My Lord, you assume this position at a crucial time in the history of our nation. It is a time when all arms of government have suffered loss of confidence from the people of this nation. And it is so also with our judiciary. It is a time when, my Lord, and justices of our courts are called upon to resuscitate that confidence that the people of this nation want to have in the institutions of government and indeed in the judiciary. I pray that your tenure will revive and sustain that confidence.
President Osinbajo, who described Justice Onogen as the right choice for the nation, used the opportunity to convey President Buhari's best wishes to him on his appointment.
I had a discussion with the President, Commander-in-Chief, President Muhammadu Buhari, and not only did he extend his personal warm wishes and congratulations, he asked that I personally convey that to you, and I do so now.
The new Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Walter Onogen, thanked the President for finding him worthy of the appointment and promised to keep to his oath of office in the interest of democracy, rule of law, and good governance.
I am out to make sure that the integrity of the judiciary is not only restored but sustained. You have people who want to have anything they want to have by all means, and they are ready. They don't care whether it is their right to have it or not. That is why I emphasize the rule of law. If all of us subject ourselves to the rule of law, what is right and just, then you would have vastly reduced, if not eradicate, corruption.
In the meantime, by virtue of his new appointment, Justice Walter Onogen was conferred with the national honor of Grand Commander of the Order of the Niger, GCON, by Acting President Yemi Osinbajo. Justice Onogen from Cross River State was born in 1950 and became a Justice of the Supreme Court in 2005. Now, the right to know, as enshrined in the Freedom of Information Act, is a powerful means for Nigerians to demand good governance and accountability. Anti-Corruption Program Manager of the Department for International Development, Emmanuel Uche, stated this at a seminar for ministries, departments, and agencies. Abdullahi Suleimani Yaji reports.
Aimed at building capacity and ensuring compliance with the Freedom of Information Act by desk officers in government organizations, the initiative of the Media Against Injustice, Violence, and Corruption and the Ministry of Justice seeks more transparency in the provision of democracy dividends through active involvement of the people.
The Freedom of Information Act that we're talking about today is very, very critical and necessary to make sure that we do not do public probes for the purpose of public probes. We need to make sure that there is critical results and outcomes that come from this public probe.
The FOI Act is a transparency law, and you can't talk about transparency without talking about anti-corruption. You can't say you are fighting corruption without entrenching transparency and accountability in the system. So the whistleblower policy of the federal government It's an excellent one. We strongly support it, but they should take a step further to ensure that they join the vigorous campaign and advocacy for the passage of the Whistleblowers Protection Bill.
Under the OGP, which Nigeria just signed on, capacity is key. And that is one of the ways we can strengthen this law.
Enlightenment about the rights of leaders and the led was described as crucial to rapid development of the nation. In Abuja, Abdullahi Suleiman Ihaji, NTA News.
The Presidential Committee on Northeast Initiative, CNI, has advocated a compulsory education for children in the Northeast region. To this end, the committee wants the Federal Ministry of Education to liaise with the National Assembly to fashion out legislation. Joseph Orok reports that this was at a meeting between the committee and the Minister of State on Education in Abuja.
The return of normalcy in the northeast states of the country and the willingness of inhabitants of this region to return home, providing a conducive environment for study in school, has become a challenge. To mitigate this challenge, the committee is seeking the support of the Education Ministry, especially with the already known cases of out-of-school and low literacy rates in the region. Commending the Federal Ministry of Education on efforts made so far for the displaced people of the region through the then Safe School initiative, the committee urged the ministry to work out a curriculum that will fast-track the elimination of extremism among the people.
Requesting the Federal Ministry of Education to maybe send a bill to the National Assembly to make it mandatory and compulsory for parents to send their children to schools, and even assign punitive measures to be made for anybody who has refused to send his or her child to school, and particularly the girl child. You know, parents are in the habit of withdrawing their girl child from school for marriage.
The 104 Unity colleges, we have made proposals that they be covered by some closed-circuit system, effective from possibly the next school year. Provision is made for it in the current term. So the closed-circuit system will be there, and those schools will be walled, at least to provide some level of security for the students when they do get back to their respective colleges.
The Presidential Committee on Northeast Initiative is to forward a comprehensive plan of action to the Federal Ministry of Education for consideration. Joseph Orok, NTA News.
And it's good news as Nigeria has been given a clean bill of health by members of the United Nations Security Council on assessment visit to the Northeast. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Jeffrey Onyama, said this at a press briefing in Abuja. Gabriel Odu has more.
The impending humanitarian crisis in the Lake Chad region, and particularly in Northeast, prompted the visit of the United Nations Security Council for an on-the-spot assessment of the roadmap put in place by the government.
Another fact that we had to bring out to them is that the people in IDP camps are probably less than 30% of all the internally displaced persons, that a lot of them are being housed by communities, and people's houses. So there's a lot of sacrifice that that the people are making. Another issue, of course, of interest to the international community is with regards to human rights. And there again, we were able to communicate the steps that are being taken.
Other issues the minister briefed on include respect for human rights, de-radicalization, girl-child education, and health infrastructure. The Minister of Youth and Sports also briefed on grassroots sport development in the Northeast.
The youth are the future of this country, and the youth are the investment of the country.
Other areas discussed were the xenophobic uprising in South Africa, insisting that no Nigerian died in the attacks. Rumor on ban placed on Nigerians traveling to the United States was also disputed. From the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Gabriel Udu, NTA News.
A new Director of Defense Information has been appointed. He is Major General John Enenche. He replaces Brigadier General Rabe Abubakar, who is now the Director of Information Management in the Department of Civil Military Affairs, Army Headquarters. Until his appointment as the new defense spokesperson, Major General Enenche was the defense liaison officer at the defense headquarters. He has since taken over. On agri-development, the federal government says there is no threat of starvation in the country, as reported by some United Nations agencies. Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Audrowe, were reacting to reports of 3 international food and agriculture agencies that Nigeria will suffer famine, food shortage, and malnutrition, describe it as impossible. At the news agency of Nigeria Non-Forum in Abuja, the minister reiterated that since Nigeria remains a major source of food for other African countries, reports by the agencies are not the true picture of the food situation in Nigeria.
Lagoon here, we are the #1 producer of cassava. We are #2 in sorghum. We are #3 in millet. So we are really not in any danger of running out of food. Prices are high. That is true. And that's what's putting pressure on people in the cities. The cost of food is gone up because the naira fell in value. And we have pressure from West Africa buying all our food.
Talking about fertilizer, the minister has assured that a bag will be sold at less than 6,000 naira, as efforts are being made to establish extension offices in all the local government areas. He also promised early distribution of fertilizers, particularly for those who would engage in this year's dry season farming. As the world celebrates the International Women's Day 2017 on 8th March, attention is being drawn to the social, economic, cultural, and political achievements of women. The day seeks to accelerate the 2030 agenda of achieving gender equality and empowering all women and girls. Muplang Dakok reports.
Women all over the world face gender-based violence and discrimination, which is why the 8th of March every year is fixed as the International Women's Day globally to accelerate gender equality and consolidate progress made so far. It is also to celebrate acts of courage and determination by women who have played extraordinary roles in the history of their countries and communities. In Nigeria, several women have displayed this feat, such as Queen Amina of Zaria, Ladi Kwali, Professor Funmilayo Ransom Kuti, Buchi Emecheta, and Dora Akinwumi, among others.
We want to be empowered, and rightly so. But all I can say is that we can empower ourselves. We have the numbers, for us to actually empower ourselves in a real way, we must be part of the decision-making process.
As part of the 2017 celebration of Women's Day with the theme Be Bold for Change, the French Embassy in Nigeria organized a discussion on Gender and Equal Opportunities Bill, which, if passed into law and if implemented, will play a key role in the defense of women's rights.
Nigeria, being Africa's leading country, has a special role to play in the defense of human rights, including women's rights.
The Gender and Equal Opportunities Bill, which has passed second reading, seeks to prohibit discrimination, promote equality in education and development, and modify socio-cultural practices, among others. Muplang Dakok, NTA News.
The runway of the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, was shut down for rehabilitation by midnight of Wednesday, March 8, 2017, not March 7, as circulated in some quarters. This clarification is from the Press and Public Affairs Department of the Federal Ministry of Transportation. The public is hereby notified that the airport remains open for operations until the midnight of Wednesday, March 8, 2017. The press statement indicates that government has also concluded all arrangements for the complementary transportation of passengers to and from Kaduna as soon as the Abuja airport shuts down operations. For security reasons, however, initial screening of passengers and luggage will be done at the airport, Abuja, while the boarding screening will be done at the Kaduna airport. The Minister of State Aviation appeals for public understanding as the decision to shut down the airport is in the interest of all. You're watching the news on NTA International. More reports when we return. Senate President Abubakar Bukola Saraki has congratulated the acting president Yemi Osinbajo on his 60th birthday anniversary. Saraki, in a statement signed by the Special Advisor, Media and Publicity, Yusuf Olaniyonu, also wished Osinbajo good health, great wisdom and enduring grace to serve the nation and humanity. The Senate President praised God to continue to give the acting president continued resilience as he steers the mantle of leadership of the nation as acting president. Similarly, Speaker of the House of Representatives Yakubu Dogara has eulogized Nigeria's acting president Yemi Osinbajo for demonstrating exceptional capacity, humility and patriotism in handling the affairs of state. In a congratulatory message to mark Osinbajo's 60th birthday anniversary, Dogara commended the acting president for exhibiting abiding faith and commitment to the ideals of democracy and rule of law. He commended Osinbajo's disposition towards building national peace, unity, and stability of Nigeria, which he has always manifested while carrying out his duties. Now, acting President Yemi Osinbajo has expressed sadness over the tragic death of Dr. Adinoye Ojo Onukaba, a veteran journalist, playwright, academic, and politician. Osinbajo extends heartfelt condolences to his family, the government and people of Kogi State on the passing of Dr. Onukaba, who served as senior special assistant to the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar on public communication and the managing director, chief executive officer of Daily Times of Nigeria. Osinbajo describes the late Dr. Onukaba as a brilliant and multi-talented journalist, academic and tested technocrat who was a symbol of hope, integrity and decency with a passion for excellence and community development. The acting president urges all who mourn Dr. Onukaba to take solace, knowing that his legacies will continue to remain relevant in Nigeria. He prays that God Almighty will comfort his family, friends, and the nation he served diligently. A campaign on the need to respect intellectual property and rights of authors has been taken to academic environment. Adebola Brookslyn Sunday reports that the Nigerian Copyright Commission took the campaign to the University of Abuja.
Business centers such as these are common sites in higher institutions of learning. This is where students make photocopies of books and other learning materials, a practice that some of them are ignorant about its implications.
Sometimes we do it, there are some titles that are very expensive, so you can't really afford it.
Those people, they are wasting money on their resources in order to make these materials available for us. Let it for money, any other person that must buy it, they will make photocopies for ourselves.
In its efforts and commitment to educate as well as sensitize the students, officials of the commission visited the institution towards developing a vibrant copyright culture. Record shows that between 2011 to date, the Nigerian Copyright Commission has carried out about 295 anti-piracy operations and apprehended 644 suspected pirates.
At some time in their lives, they may become authors, and if they don't learn to respect other people's intellectual property, others, may not obviously learn to respect theirs.
You don't learn only how to protect your work, but you now have the encouragement, the guts, to take legal actions.
The sensitization seminar is expected to acquaint students with basic concepts of copyrights and related rights and their relevance in their educational pursuits. Adebola, Brookslyn Sunday, NTA News.
Synergy between key stakeholders has been identified as key to achieving the much-needed compliance of enforcement of the speed limiting device. This was part of discussion by the Corps Marshal of the Federal Road Safety Corps, Boboye Oyeyemi, and the leadership of the Petroleum Tanker Drivers Nupeng branch when he paid them a courtesy visit. Ado Adamu has the report.
With the enforcement of the speed limiter device across the country last month, the Federal Road Safety Corps is partnering with key stakeholders for full compliance. As part of the drive, the Corps Marshal of the Corps, Boboye Oyeyemi, was at the national headquarters of the Petroleum Tanker Drivers Nupeng branch.
The Federal Road Safety Corps is devising means of collaboration with key partnering agencies to ensure smooth compliance.
The co-marshal commended the union for keying into the initiative in an effort to make roads safe for all. While commending the tanker drivers for their level of compliance, the co-marshal stressed the need for synergy among stakeholders. He assured the tanker drivers union for continuous support, especially in the area of manpower training.
It's not that we are not recording one or two crashes, but the frequency has reduced, and that we need to sustain this.
Responding, the national chairman, Salmon Oladiti, commended the leadership of the corps for their collaborative posture and assured them of the union has mandated all their loading terminals to include the device as part of their vehicle safety requirements.
There is a need to let each and every one of us work interwovenly to make sure that we save life and property.
The collaboration is one in a number of synergy by the Federal Road Safety Corps to ensure smooth compliance. In Abuja, Adwa Demwalso, NTA News.
For some happenings in the world of business, here is Olayinka Ojo.
Welcome to Business News. Nigeria recorded a trade balance deficit of 290.13 billion naira out of a total trade value of 17.34 trillion naira recorded in 2016. The foreign trade statistics of the last quarter of last year released over the weekend by the National Bureau of Statistics shows that Nigeria imported more goods in value terms than the country exported, a development that led to a trade deficit. The Russian ruble eased in early trade on Tuesday, hurt by lower oil prices. The ruble was 0.2% weaker than the dollar at 58.31 and had lost 0.3% to trade at 61.75 vis-a-vis the euro. A global benchmark for Russia main export was down 0.3% at $55.8 a barrel, with investors searching for further direction as concerns over rising U.S. shale output offset production cuts by OPEC and non-OPEC members. A check at closing figures on the floor of Tuesday's trading. And that's it on the business segment of the news. I am Olayinka Ojo.
For news trending outside Nigeria, Joseph Orok takes it up from here.
United Nations Secretary General has held talks with new Somali President Mohamed Famako in Mogadishu, Somalia's capital, on efforts to prevent famine and improve security. Mr. Guterres said the visits enabled the two leaders to discuss on how to put in place a response mechanism to prevent the worst conflicts, droughts, climate change, and disease in the country. The United Nations Secretary General meets with the Somalian president in a highly secured airport zone protected by African Union peacekeepers and where UN office is located. Still in Africa, a notorious wildlife smuggler who has been on the run for 4 years has been arrested in Guinea. Abdul Salam Sibidi is accused of selling thousands of live animals, including endangered chimpanzees, for more than 30 years. A non-governmental organization, Eco Activists for Governance and Law Enforcement, first began tracking him in 2013 when he started selling wildlife for about $50,000 US. Joseph Orok, NTA News.
Nigeria's senior men's national cricket team begins camping ahead of ICC regional qualifiers in South Africa as hosts Zambia set to take on South Africa in AFCON Under-20 Championship. Kenema Bodike has details on our sports update.